doing what I was born to do and feeling so grateful for that. El Rushbo, your guiding light, your bulwark, your truth detector, doctor of democracy, general all-round good guy as America's real anchorman here at 800-282-2882 and the email address lrushbo@eibnet.com. So we're already here into the third hour, and I already fall behind in where I intended to be in alerting you to some of the reports in the drive-by media that reflect anger, panic, sadness, disappointment over the state of Obamacare and particularly healthcare.gov. It really is stunning. We sit around and we think that all these media people, they're just on the same page as the Democrats, and they are. They're all the Democrat Party. They're all hacks. Some of them act as journalists. Others are in the cabinet. Others in the regime. Others think tanks. They're all Democrats, and they're all oriented toward one thing, and that's the advancing of the leftist agenda. And we also assume that they're all competent and that they're all strategic and they're all on the same page, all coordinated, and that they all either get marching orders or they're just so like-minded they don't need marching orders. And they're all true believers. So we all assume that they really do believe that tax increases on the rich are not going to affect them, but they're going to hurt the people they don't like. They actually end up believing this. For example, they think that just because Obama is their guy, and it really is God, there really is a messianic attachment, that if he comes up with a health care plan, it's desperately needed, and only he could have done it, and if he did it, it is going to be flawless. And then the real world shows up, and they scratch their heads yet again and don't get it. And that's where we are. They have these arrogant almost expectations combined with a condescending attitude toward people that disagree with them. And people that say, no, it can't work, are automatically rejected as kooks, extremists, entertainers, or what have you. And they are set out to be destroyed, criticized, ripped to shreds, what have you. And the critics are always born out to be right. Yet the critics are never acknowledged, and the true believers end up having to report some things they just don't understand. And then they get really worried, which is where they are now. Not worried that it isn't going to work. Worried that it might be a setback for the advancement of the agenda. They're not worried they've done the wrong thing. Don't misunderstand me. They don't think they've screwed up. They don't think that what their dream is unrealistic. It's not that. It's just they can never believe that their philosophy doesn't work. Despite all the historical, empirical, worldwide evidence, they just can never believe it. So that takes me to the stack, and we'll get to some sound bites to illustrate this. Ron Fournier, National Journal, former White House correspondent and AP bureau chief. Why Obama should be freaked out over Obamacare. Ran today. It might have run yesterday. It ran yesterday. And he has 5 points here. It's worse than Obama. I think it's worse than Obama's team has let on. Obama said Monday he's frustrated by the disastrous launch of an online computer marketplace for Obamacare. Here are 5 reasons why frustration isn't enough. Obama should be frightened. It's worse than his team has let on. See, Obama hasn't even been told how bad it is. The White House has tried to position the failed first days as just hiccups caused by the site's popularity. Obama called them kinks. A regime spokesman told the Washington Post Sunday that the main driver of the problem is volume. That is intentionally misleading. The White House has heard complaints from insurance companies, consumers, health policy experts about issues embedded deeply in the system. But the regime refuses to say how many people have enrolled through the federal exchange, the key metric for determining how well the online service is working. There are two possible explanations for the regime's unconscionable lack of transparency. What do you mean unconscionable lack of transparency? This is common. Anyway, there are two possible explanations for it. Their process is so screwed up that they don't have the data, which would be embarrassing, or they have the data and it is embarrassing. And it's the latter. They know how bad it is, and it is embarrassing, but they say just give us 3 hours or 3 weeks, and we'll take care of it. This is the easy part. Finding and motivating people to take action online is the founding strength of Team Obama. See, this takes me back to the beginning. This is exactly what's wrong with this. This is what is not present. I'm going to say this again. And those of you who lead groups of people know this. Or if you work for a leader of people, you know that if you are the leader or if you work for the leader, that leader is hell-bent on something happening, really wants it. And if you respect that leader, if you're on that leader's team and you want your team to surpass all the other teams, you bust your butt to get it done. You do it because you're devoted to the project. You do it because you're devoted to the cause. You do it because you're devoted to the guy or the girl, the leader. You do it because your heart is in it. This is it. And that's what's missing here. And all the while, we've been assuming that this is the kind of leadership Obama inspires, and it obviously isn't. This finding and motivating people to take action online is the founding strength of Team Obama. This is what they do best. Obviously, it isn't. Obviously, it's not. That's what's really missing here. Managing a complex law is a different matter, and it's fair to question whether the president and his team are up to it. So what Fournier is saying is they're perfectly motivated. Oh, these true believers are there. They've been busting their rear ends to make Obama look good. Maybe they just can't. Maybe it just can't be done. Whose decision was it to make it so complex? Are you thinking Obama? What? This is wrong question. With all due respect, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Obama didn't get into details. Obama said, give me a national health care plan. This thing had been in a drawer of some staffers for 20 years. This health care plan was already, how many pages is this? Over 2,000 pages. This thing just didn't they didn't start writing this when Obama was elected. This thing's been a wet dream in somebody's drawer for 20 years, waiting for the right time to implement it. I mean, this is a bureaucrat's orgasm. All these departments, all these regulations, all these whereases and ifs, ands, and buts, and therefores and why nots. And as the secretary shall determine, it's an absolute mess. It was already written. Obama just said, give me a national health. He doesn't care about the complexity. He's not a detail guy. He doesn't care. The only thing that mattered to him was getting it passed and signed into law. And after that, everything takes care of itself while he's on the golf course. So these glitches, he may make somebody's head roll over this, but that's not even all of this is so much smoke and mirrors. Now, number 3 in Fournier's list. It reflects poorly on the president. Nobody expects the chief executive to be reviewing computer code or hosting East Room hackathons, but this fail is on him. This falls exactly right. It goes to my point at the beginning of the program. It reflects poorly on the president. It reflects poorly on the leader. Why couldn't the true believers make it happen? My point is he is not inspirational. He is not what they've been telling us he is. I'm not making a big deal of this. He's not running for election. We can't campaign against him anymore. I'm just interested in truth here. He's not all of these superhuman things he was portrayed to be. He's just another incompetent liberal. That's all he is. With a little radical thrown in and a lot of Alinsky thrown in, and he's a dangerous, incompetent radical. I mean, we don't even have any successful stories of Obama as a community organizer. I mean, this whole thing, all of this is giant build-up, great expectations, and, of course, the reality is that it is a dud. Reflects poorly on the president. Yes, number 4 reflects poorly on the government. Yeah, I'd say so. And, see, these are the things that worry these people. It looks bad for Obama. It looks bad for government. It's worse than they've let on. And number 5, it could hurt Americans. For decades, politicians of both parties pledged to ease one of the leading causes of anxiety in the post-industrial age, a lack of affordable health care. And this was supposed to end that anxiety. And it has not ended it. It's made it more expensive and added to the anxiety. Why, it could end up hurting. You mean like most of liberalism does? Most liberalism hurts the people it sets out to help. That's what's so flummoxing to all of us who pay attention to this. Liberalism hurts people. Liberalism inflicts a lot of pain on people. It destroys ambition. It breaks up families. It creates destitution. It creates dependency. It destroys dignity, all in the guise of compassion. Liberalism assumes everybody else is incompetent. How sadly ironic it would be if Obamacare is denied a fair shake because of its namesake's mismanagement. See, there you get. That's the final concern of Mr. Fournier. How sadly ironic it would be if Obamacare is denied a fair shake. What is a fair shake? They've had 3 years because of its namesake's mismanaged. So it's all on him. AP, Julie Pace, White House lying about Obamacare enrollment numbers. And she really lays into them here about how they're totally lying about the enrollment and how few it really is and how it's nowhere near enough to run this program. There aren't nearly enough people who've enrolled who have committed to buying insurance. There's not nearly enough money coming in. This is going to, again, this is going to end up forcing people into the system. And that's the end game, I think, for this, obviously. UK Daily Mail, stay away from healthcare.gov for at least another month. Obamacare loses major cheerleader as Consumer Reports magazine issues scathing advice. Now, Consumer Reports, I don't know why, but it's where people go to figure out what washer and dryer to buy or what car to buy or what this or that. Not going to question it. I could. Not going to go there. Wouldn't be prudent. But regardless, and they big Obamacare boosters, Consumer Reports, big Obamacare everywhere, and they're saying stay away from it. Don't get, that's the same, I mean, Consumer Reports, don't want to insult any of you people out there, low information mecca. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. It's why do I get myself in these messes? There's nothing. Just leave it at Consumer Reports says don't go there. Fine. If they're a gospel for you, you keep looking at them that way. And this in the Washington Post. They have a poll. Majority believe the healthcare website problems indicate a broader issue with the law. Most Americans say the rocky start for Obamacare is a harbinger of bigger problems. It's an ABC News Washington Post poll. 56% of Americans say the website problems are part of a bigger problem. I don't know how they fix this, unless this is all smoke and mirrors and we're being set up for a massive fix in 3 weeks. It looks miraculous. What do you think of that possibility? You give them that kind of... No? Okay. All right. And then Politico, 5 Obamacare questions Kathleen Sebelius won't answer. I can't even believe Obamacare or the Politico thought of them. I really can't. 5 Obamacare questions Kathleen Sebelius won't answer. 1, what's actually wrong with this? With healthcare.gov. What's wrong with the website? Just tell us that. When will it be fixed? Will the regime delay the individual mandate? That's question 3 for her. Question 4, how many people have actually enrolled? They will not answer that. Number 5, why didn't you have a good backup plan? They're the government. They don't have to have a backup plan. I got to take a break. We'll be back after this, folks. Sit tight. So according to reports, 5 million lines of computer code has to be fixed in Obamacare. That's more than a few glitches. 5 million lines. That's just... And those 5 million lines are going to have to be coordinated with all the different software writers. Oh my goodness. As Rumsfeld would say. Oh my goodness. Why, that's just unbelievable, Dick. 5 million lines, 3 weeks. Okay, I have been talked into during the break, and I've agreed to be talked into it since most of the program's in the can now, to explore some of the sound bites mentioning me that took place since I was last with you on Friday. And we start here Friday night, New York City, on New York One's Road to City Hall. The host, Errol Lewis, interviewed Chuck U. Schumer. And we're talking about the effort to defund Obamacare and the government shutdown. And Errol Lewis said to Chuck U. Schumer, how did they, meaning the Republicans, how did they so badly miscalculate?
The Rush Limbaughs of the world, they had a lot of clout. And so I think most Republicans thought the strategy was flawed from the beginning. But They said, well, let's let it play out and see what happens. Certainly Boehner did. He was a very poor leader. I think there was an element of fear there.